In the land of dragons and rivers, long before the modern world existed, a boy was born. A boy who would unite a shattered world under one name, China. His name was Yingzheng, the man history would remember as Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. 2,000 years ago, China was not a single nation. It was a brutal battlefield, a land torn apart by 7 powerful states: Qin, Ku, Zhao, Han, Yan, and Qi. For centuries, they fought for dominance, each wanting to be the last one standing, drowning the land in blood to claim it. But high in the western mountains, the kingdom of Qin, a state of fearsome warriors and brilliant strategists, was rising. And it was led by a young king who believed that only absolute unity could ever bring lasting peace. At just 13 years old, Yingzheng ascended to the throne of Qin. His world was a viper's nest of warlords, assassins, and traitors, all vying for power. Yet in his eyes burned an ambition far greater than any who came before him. He saw a future where the chaos of centuries would end, and one unbreakable empire would be forged from the ashes. He learned to wield politics like a weapon and strategy as his sword. Working in his shadow was the brilliant Li Si, his trusted minister, the master architect behind an empire that would forever change the course of Asian history. Between 230 and 221 BCE, the world watched and trembled. The armies of Qin, disciplined with ruthless efficiency and armed with superior technology, marched across China like an unstoppable force of nature. One by one, the warring states fell. Han, the weakest, was the first to surrender. Zhao was crushed in a devastating campaign. The mighty state of Chu fought fiercely, but even its vast armies could not halt the advance of Qin's steel tide. Finally, in 221 BCE, Yingzheng achieved the impossible. He had conquered all his rivals and united China for the very first time in its long history. He then bestowed upon himself a new title, one fit for a living god. I am Shi Huang, the first emperor of Qin. With the wars won, the dream of a unified empire became a breathtaking reality. Qin Shi Huang embarked on one of the most ambitious projects of standardization the world had ever seen. He unified the written language, created a single currency for the entire realm, and standardized all weights and measures. He even dictated the width of chariot axles, ensuring that every road would connect every corner of his vast empire as one. Under his command, a massive network of imperial highways and canals was constructed. And from the stones of the northern frontier, the first iteration of the Great Wall of China began to rise, a colossal defensive line snaking across mountains and deserts. It's a symbol of his power and his vision. For the first time, China was not just a geographic region, but one body, one mind, one soul. But even the most absolute power breeds fear, and the one thing every emperor fears is death. As he grew older, Qin Shi Huang became consumed by an obsessive quest for immortality. He dispatched massive fleets across the treacherous seas, sending thousands in search of the mythical elixir of life. They sailed towards the legendary islands of the immortals, but none ever returned. Back in his palace, alchemists and mystics promised him eternal life, filling his court with strange potions made from mercury and gold-lethal poisons disguised as miracles of eternal youth. The emperor who had conquered death on the battlefield was now locked in a desperate losing battle against it in his own life. Knowing the end was approaching, Qin Shi Huang commanded the construction of a final resting place so magnificent it could hold the heavens themselves. Deep beneath the earth near his capital, an army of over 700,000 laborers built a secret, subterranean city. It was a mausoleum on an unimaginable scale. Rivers of flowing mercury were said to mimic China's great waterways, and to guard him in the afterlife, he commissioned an entire army of terracotta warriors, thousands of life-size soldiers, archers, and cavalrymen, each with a unique, individual face. It was a city of silence, a perfect reflection of the empire he had built above. When the tomb was finally complete, a terrible final order was given. To protect its secrets for eternity, all the artisans and laborers who had built it were sealed inside, their lives sacrificed to guard the emperor's eternal sleep. In 210 BCE, while on a journey to the eastern coast in search of immortality, the immortal emperor died. His death was a catastrophic secret that had to be hidden from the world. His most powerful advisors, Li Si and the eunuch Xiao Gao, pretended he was still alive. They continued the imperial tour, placing his decomposing body in a carriage filled with carts of rotting fish to mask the smell of death. But an empire built on the will of one man cannot survive his absence. As soon as the truth was revealed, the dynasty he built with fire and sword began to crumble. Corruption spread like a plague, rebellions erupted across the land, and the people rose up against the harsh laws of the Qin. Within just 15 years of its creation, the great empire of Qin collapsed into dust. Qin Shi Huang ruled through fear, but he also ruled through an undeniable vision. He was a tyrant who burned books and buried scholars alive, but he was also a unifier who built a nation. He destroyed the ancient kingdoms, but from their ashes he created the concept of China. His dynasty was short-lived, yet his dream of a unified state did not die with him. Every emperor who followed, for the next 2 millennia, called themselves the Son of Heaven, walking the imperial path he had paved. Even the very name China is believed to have come from his state, Qin, and today his Terracotta Army still stands guard. Silent sentinels protecting the man who unified a nation and sought to conquer time itself. 2,000 years later, the ghost of his empire still breathes. The foundations of the walls he built still stand. The unified system he created continues to shape the identity of a modern superpower. He was a paradox, a destroyer and a creator, a madman and a visionary. He was the first emperor, the man who united China, but could not unite himself with eternity. If you were captivated by this epic story of power, ambition, and destiny, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it to help us keep history alive. Because every empire may fall, but their stories can last forever. Thanks for watching.